All right, everybody. Hokies lost yesterday. Wake Forest 30, Virginia Tech 23. Billy Ray back in Charlotte, rocking the Bass Pros hat. I am in the Upper East Side recording this afternoon. And we're going to talk about this loss. We're going to talk about what's next. Overall, an up and down week in Hokie Nation. But Billy, you just got back from Lake Kiwi. How are you, my man?
I had a good weekend. We'll talk about the game specifically, but there was a lot of good football on. I mean, it could be worse. Virginia Tech could be Texas and Penn State, who have not won a Power 4 game yet. We did do that last week. You know, after the NC State game, a couple things were said. Number one, this team is not perfect. Confirmed, true. The team
guilty as charged.
The team is not perfect. And second, this is how I should have thought about it and where I arrived when the game ended after the final whistle, final cannon. Look, this is a zombie football team. This is a interim coach. We have a bright future coming up here in the not so long time from now. So you kind of have to measure your expectations that way and take it one play, one quarter, one game at a time. But we're going to go over some of the other games. This was just such a slow and painful. This was like the last scene that scene in Saving Private Ryan where I think it's Mellish. His buddy gets shot in the throat and then he slowly gets stabbed in the room and you just have to watch the entire thing. It's a tough scene to watch. I'll tell you what, that football game was tough to watch yesterday. So that's how I'm doing.
We'll talk about it later, but honestly, the wrestling commitment, double commitment, 2 for 1. I mean, interviewing as a team along those lines really softened the blow of the afternoon. Robby Ashford threw for 256 yards yesterday, had a score, and Wake Forest head coach Jake Dickert picked up his first ever ACC win. Wake Forest moved to 3-2, 1-2 in conference. And I got to be honest, when Isaiah Brown Murray, number 9 on our defense, picked off Ashford in the late third quarter of yesterday's football game and took it down to the 4, and we had first and goal from the 4 down a touchdown, I was convinced we were going to win the football game.
Yeah.
Just too much momentum. And I would call this the blue balls moment of the game. I feel like we've had our fair share of these moments over the years, and the momentum just feels so good. And you're probably yelling at the loudest decibels that you're yelling all afternoon watching the football game. Then we went 3 and out and settled for that field goal instead of tying it up at 27. And the offense just didn't have it. You start out the 4-yard line, you can't punch it in. You're not going to do much. We didn't do much in the second half at all yesterday. Billy, what are you going to say?
A couple of things. First of all, of course, Nick Anderson forced the incompletion on 4th down to end the game. Because of course he did.
All over him. He was all over him. I don't think,
I mean,
if you're gonna throw 17 flags on the day, why not just throw an 18th? Keep the game going.
It was certainly questionable. But of course, Nick Anderson, after his 3 interception performance against us in 2020 or 2019, whatever year, 2020, of course, he's the one who makes the game sealing play. This is also Wake Forest's first win at Lane Stadium since 1983. Wake Forest also had their Montgomery moment. They had a nice video they put out with Coach talking to the team after. I'll tell you what, this Dickert guy, pretty damn good. And speaking of Dickert and speaking of blue ball moment of the game, Blue Chew, Viagra, you don't sponsor the podcast. That can change. That can change at any moment. And I'll say this. I did miss this is the wrong word, but since nobody's going to say it, I'll say it. The fan base yesterday was awesome.
The fans.
They showed out. The uniforms look great. The CW, first of all, was way better than they've been all season. They were basically like a walking infomercial for Virginia Tech the entire first half. They were just like, the weather is unbelievable. The scene, the crowd, unbelievable. They said it like 50 times.
They zoom in on Burris Hall. They're like, there's one of the administrative buildings, Burris Hall. And then the next scene, it's like There's like it's panned so far in on the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it like zooms out on the mountains, and all of a sudden it's Lane Stadium, and they're like, "This is quite a backdrop."
They did a much better job. But yeah, we'll keep it rolling here. Let's get into some poetry. Again, I'm constantly blown away by how much you all have stepped up the haikus. And real quick, shout out to my guy. I think it was Ben Griffiths. It was a pretty heinous afternoon in Lane Stadium on Saturday.
I think it was Robby Emerson.
Oh, Robby Emerson. It was heinous. It was
preposterous,
deplorable. Just a real kick. Again, sponsored by Blue Chew. A real kick to the nuts. So go ahead with give us some more haikus.
Jonah Paul Pike sent me a few. I'll read this one. Left points on the board. Monty don't got me no mo. Ouch. L for Hoko. Ben Griffiths. Run the damn ball. That's only 4 syllables, Ben. Run the damn ball. All of Hokie Nation cries. Oh, look, it's another pass. That was... Ben, we got to... Back to basics. Haiku is 575. That was 477, but it was a great poem, so we had to throw it in here. I submitted this one myself. Pat Finn. Toe stubbing all day. We shot ourselves in the foot. We all out of toes.
I got to tell you, there's this quote that came from a Jets player last week. He said something along the lines of like, a lot of teams shoot themselves in the foot, but then we go ahead and shoot ourselves in the head. That's definitely what it felt like in this football game. The other 2 submissions we got, Robby Emerson. Hokies were heinous. They were. Get back to the drawing board, on to Georgia Tech. And then Pete McGee, penalties, self-own, discipline lacked, wake attacked, insurmountable. Wow. Well done. Where did you watch, Pat? Well, first of all, can you tell us about your saga? You were so pumped to watch on the couch, like no issues. And I get a text like, what, 12:45? Disasterville. I'm so pissed. What happened, dude?
Just like fired up, leaving from my girlfriend's on Upper East to go down to the West Village, watch at home on my own couch, and just consume football. 60 minutes of Hokie football. Invite Mike over, my next door neighbor, Mike Santa Maria, former Hokie legend, and realized like halfway through my subway journey that I'd left my keys at Aaron's house. And I had been hyping this up all week. Mike, you and me, dude, we're just going to watch this game. We're going to have house audio. We're going to get some wings from Blind Tiger. It's going to be great. And then I'm 75% away down. I'm like, dude, I left the keys in the Upper East Side. Thankfully, Mike said, dude, we can watch the first half of my house. And I did the Uber courier.
Wow.
Called an Uber, had the Uber get my keys and drive them down to me. Less than $20. It was a great deal. And we consumed the second half on my couch with the wings from the Blind Tiger. So I got to tell you, Billy Ray, this was the first time that I consumed a Virginia Tech game uninterrupted at home on a couch.
It's awesome.
So since the Marshall game in 2023, the one that we lost at Marshall, was the last time I watched at home without anything else on, no other distractions, just, not at a bar, not at the game, no wedding. So that was nice, and I highly recommend it. And I'm like, damn, the last 2 times I've done that have been losses to Marshall and Wake Forest. I wonder when the last time was before that Marshall game when I could watch the Hokies uninterrupted on my couch and see us win a football game. But that's all right. We are halfway through the season. We are 2-4. There will be plenty more opportunities to watch on a couch uninterrupted.
Real quick, because you will get aggregated for this by Brandon Lloyd or somebody. We definitely love to be at the game. But if you can't be at the game, I prefer much prefer to watch it on house audio in my own situation. What I did this weekend, I was at Lake Kiwi. Juliana and a bunch of her friends get together once a year down at Lake Kiwi. So I have to shout out the Cumbie family, the Johnson family. Fantastic time. Charcuterie was everywhere. Just really, really nice.
Was this a UVA tailgate?
There were some UVA people there. But there's nothing wrong with some salami and gabagool and, pepperoni. Also had some Hawaiian chicken kebabs. What else? I mean, we had all sorts of great stuff. So I took this game in on the laptop on the dock, which was great. Enjoyed it. Had the audio on. Dog was jumping in the water, having splish splash. I was taking a bath in my own tears. That was what was going on. So I want to ask you a question. There are different categories of losses. If you go into your filing cabinet and you're looking at, okay, taxes, FY 24, 23, 22, car stuff, mortgage stuff. I don't have that file yet, but looking to have that pretty soon. You then get to the Virginia Tech losses section. Okay. And here's how I break them down, or here are the three that I'll highlight. You have the embarrassing losses, right? Old Dominion, every time we lost to them. Duke at night, that was embarrassing. JMU, that was embarrassing. Usually, embarrassing L's have to come with some sort of consequence or importance in the game, and you get blown out, or you lose to a team who is like obviously inferior. Then you have the embarrassing L's, or the heartbreaking L's, excuse me. This is Boston College, Matt Ryan. This is Notre Dame 2019. Feel like you're going to win the game, you don't win the game. UVA 2019. Miami in 2023. Like, you're just like heartbroken. Man, this was a good team. We could have won the game. We didn't.
Sugar Bowl. Miami 2024.
24, yes, thank you. The years jog together. But like games where the stakes are high, you feel like you could have stole one, you could have got one, you competed all day and you lose. And then there's the slow burn loss. The, oh my gosh, like just spilling your guts out over. By the way, this game took forever. It started at 1:00. I think it ended at like 4:30, 4:45. Like, this game was a marathon. I was like watching the Harry Potter sextilogy or quadrilogy or however many Harry Potters there are. I don't think it's sex trilogy either. Gosh, we're getting racy at the beginning of this podcast. But the slow burn losses, like we talked about this Wake 2014 meme game coming in. I feel like this one was just as painful. Like, from the third down penalties to like just consistently shooting yourself in the foot, having to watch our offense and then having to watch their offense, like, all due respect. And I want to tip my cap to him because Robby Ashford was fighting through injury, was good enough to win the game. Gutsy, gritty performance. Salute to him. Robby Ashford is not that good healthy. Robby Ashford looked like he had a broken thumb and won the game. Claiborne goes out, their best player, and we still lose the game. And for me, like, in terms of slow burn losses, I don't know what other ones you can think of off of the top of your head, but like this one hurt. And it's not because Wake was not nearly as good as we are, or Wake Forest was really good and we were punching up and had a chance to win. It was just like, it was a stomach ache and so painful for so long. And then you lose at the end. And it felt like a kick in the nads.
I got one for you. Actually, I got two for you, and they're both from 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech 2017.
Yeah.
At Bobby Dodd,
Mm-hmm.
lose by 6. Mm-hmm. Just make some mistakes on both sides of the ball that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bowl game. Remember the Camping World Bowl, Oklahoma State? I think we had a fumble on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Just those were the two that just stuck out to me. I'm sure if you were at one of these games, or if you were at a similar game where it's just like, man, I just thought we were going to break through and get on the right side of that stomach ache, and we never did.
Yeah.
Comment below if you have any additional ones that you want to add to this pile. The slow burn, just, it's like one bad mistake per quarter. For this game, it was a few mistakes in the second quarter. They scored 21 points in the second quarter. It's the difference in the game. We are no stranger to those types of football games here. That's a good. I like the tiered breakdown: embarrassing losses, heartbreaking losses, and then just the slow burn. That you're just like, man, correct mistakes, take care of the little things, and the big L won't happen.
On that point, here are some of my themes of the game. Astonishingly, because Coach Montgomery pointed this out in his post-game press conference, Wake was actually penalized more than us, and by a pretty significant margin. They couldn't even get the snap off in the first half. Like, it was delay of game, offside, or false start. So the crowd must have been fantastic in the beginning. They were penalized 11 times for 85 yards. We were penalized 6 for 74. But here's the problem, okay? We had that disaster quarter, but we had a disaster quarter for each side of the ball in different quarters. For the defense, we ended the second quarter giving up 21 points. We had the lead 14-10 with 4:37 left in the second quarter. And then Wake goes on a 55-yard touchdown drive. Virginia Tech goes 3 and out, takes like no time off the clock. And then Wake goes on another 44-yard touchdown drive. So then it's 24-14 at Wake at halftime. So you go from, okay, playing pretty good in this first half. Let's go out and win this game to, wait, we're down 10. Okay, I guess. And those 24 points that Wake Forest scored in the first half were good enough to win the football game because Virginia Tech only mustered 23. And then for the offense, 0 points in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Virginia Tech had the ball for a grand total of 4.5 minutes and 12 plays. So that was awful. We just talked about the penalties, and it was just comedic stupidity. So again, Wake had the 11 penalties for 85 yards, but Wake Forest's 3 first half scores came from Virginia Tech stupidity. We had the drones interception, which led to the first Wake Forest field goal. We had 3rd and 8. Wake Forest is in 3rd and 8 on their own 47-yard line. And then Ben Bell, dude, guy, like roughing the passer, first down, which leads to the Wake Forest touchdown. I know you have some thoughts, and again, I never like zeroing in, but like, how can we just not, buddy? It has to stop. Like, it's not even like a bang bang play. It is like, in my mind, a totally selfish play that leads to points.
Dude, it is 3rd down. You do this, they're getting the ball, automatic first down, 15 yards. Again, why? Where's
your brain,
dude? Where is your brain? It's like that. I said this weeks ago. I'm retweeting myself. This happened to Vanderbilt. This was like one of the reasons one of their late touchdown drives that was like a go-ahead or a third quarter touchdown drive at Vanderbilt kept going. Because on 3rd down, Ben Bell decides to lower his brain into the quarterback, and it just falls out onto the floor. It's like the Squidward meme where he just takes his brain out of his head and throws it in the trash can. They're going to call that every single time.
Every time.
Unless you think you are actually have an opportunity to bat the ball down as you're thrusting yourself at the quarterback. Selfish play like that has no place on this football team. And I hope that he got absolutely ripped by JC and the rest of the staff, and that he's running gassers early in the week. And I got a text that I thought was pretty funny, so I will read it out loud. Ben Bell is this year's Parker Clements. But then it's like, man, I can't really say that because Ben Bell led the team in tackles yesterday. Ben Bell had 9 tackles. So
that's the frustrating part, is because he had a huge sack against NC State, but he has 1 or 2 plays where you're just like, guy, you cannot do this. You can't do it. Ugh.
It's like, listen, man, we understand your upside, but your downside is too much of a risk that you're going to lose us football games, and we're going to put someone else back there.
And then on Wake Forest's second touchdown, we have Wake Forest in 3rd and 15 on our own 34, and Caleb Spencer, it's like one of those plays where as you're watching it, you're like, get him out. Okay, good. No, what are you doing? No. And Caleb Spencer just shoves Robby Ashford. It doesn't matter how hard he shoved him. Like, just don't touch him at all. He's running out of bounds. You give him the first down. They score their second touchdown before halftime. And then
Caleb Spencer's high school coach is watching and is just like freaking out at the TV.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was a love tap.
I know.
It is like, what is this accomplishing? Like, he's so far behind the line. Did he even get past the line of scrimmage? It's going to be 3rd and 15. It was 3rd and 15.
It was. Yeah. I think he got like half of it. It's just stupidity. And then, like, we have the Spirit flag, we have the Virginia flag, and we have the American flag, right, of penalties. You got all three. They run out of the tunnel at the same time. The third one, Donovan Green, it's 4th and goal in the 2. And we have some jawing, some gnawing, and some pushing. Like, and then we go from 4th and goal at the 2, down 7 in the second half to potentially tie the game, to 4th and goal from the 17. And it's like, well, I guess we'll kick it now. Coach Montgomery said in the postgame presser that he would have gone for it. But the thing that's also frustrating is there are so many young guys that are playing and contributing. Ben Bell's not a young guy. Donovan Green's not a young guy. I don't believe Caleb Spencer's a young guy. Like, why are our seniors, redshirt juniors, getting game-changing penalties? It's so frustrating, especially when you know how many young guys are going out there and laying it out on the line. And two, like, I don't have a problem with how Caleb Spencer played the rest of the game, or Ben Bell played the rest of the game, or Donovan Green played the rest of the game. But when you do something so monumentally stupid, and it was monumentally stupid, that is what's remembered from the game. And Virginia Tech was not only competing against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, they were also competing against themselves for the entire game, which was tough. So on other comedic stupidity, the officiating, look, it's certainly not why we lost, but there were multiple missed holding calls on Wake Forest. The covering the center on Wake Forest's field goal. I know we have beef with Stu Holt, but they absolutely are not lined up wrong. They're not covering the center. So
that's what Mike said. Mike is like, Mike, former Virginia Tech kicker. He's like, I mean, if anyone knows about special teams, I think Mike Santa Maria knows about special teams. He's like, that's not a flag. And as much as we want to come out here and rag on Stu Holt, yeah, that was a suspect call, Billy Ray.
Suspect. I mean, it just flat out wrong. My dad texted me. My dad texted. You know how dads text. He just wrote, "Not a penalty," and then the next text was, "This game so long."
His texts are so good.
I know. Just some other things to point out. The Stars went out in this game. Stewart and Claiborne both finished with 16 total carries. And again, Robby Ashford, who, by the way, they pointed this out on the CW broadcast, was playing at Auburn when Phil Montgomery was there, and then was benched, not because Phil Montgomery wanted to bench him, but because Hugh Freeze stepped in and made a decision himself. And Robby Ashford, dude, add it to the list of quarterbacks that their careers will end when college football is over, that have come into the vaunted, hailed Terror Dome and defeated the Virginia Tech Hokies. Again, though, I have to tip my cap. Like, dare I say, a gritty performance out of Robby Ashford, for real. Like, every single play, he looked like he was going to have to go to the hospital. Like, his thumb was hurt, his back was hurt, his shoulder was hurt. I mean, it would probably not feel that good if you're working your desk job and then, you hang up the phone and then Ben Bell just lays you out when you're like not paying attention. So,
well, not to take away from anything there too. He also looked like Peyton Manning in the red zone.
He did.
Like, he was throwing darts in the red zone. That one ball where he ran to his left and threw it into double coverage and totally thread the needle for the first down.
Yeah.
Just going north to south. But on that note, Billy Ray, no running back for Wake. No star running back for Virginia Tech. Robby Ashford answers the bell. Virginia Tech has a serious quarterback problem. And Kyron Drones was awful yesterday. It was not the same guy we saw in Raleigh that we needed to win a football game. We are not asking for our quarterback to give us the earth, moon, and stars. We're just asking for 65% of passes complete, get us some first downs, maybe throw for more than 150 yards. Maybe don't make dumb mistakes in your own red zone, and just lead this team, whether it's vocally, body language. Every single person in that stadium knew that Kyron Drones was not leading this team down the field for a touchdown to tie it up late in the game. And the same guy who claimed to beg Monty to let him take the 4th and 1 in Raleigh threw for 111 yards and scored 0 points in the second half. He was 14 of 28, which is good for 4 yards per attempt. The longest pass play of the day was 24 yards. He handed Wake Forest 3 points minimum with that interception, pick, fumble, whatever it was in the first quarter. You have the nice touchdown drive with the touchdown pass to Takai Heath after the big run by Terrion Stewart. But the inconsistency just completely continued. And Kyron Jones cannot make decisions fast enough at this level. He can't read or pick up a blitz. And my question for you, Billy, is what is keeping Kyron Jones as the starting quarterback on this football team? Because going forward, whoever this new coach is, Virginia Tech has a quarterback problem. Virginia Tech has had quarterback problems for several years now. Even a guy like Pop Watson, who has moxie, swag, good, positive attitude, bounce, what have you. We saw him do it in the Virginia game. We saw some flashes at Duke last year. Why have we not seen Pop? And what the heck is going on that is keeping Kyron Jones as our starting quarterback?
So, I will pose a new question and then answer yours. I think Virginia Tech just has a everything problem. And when I say that, it was a bad performance for sure. It wasn't the same that we saw in Raleigh. I will push back on I didn't get the negative body language that I have seen out of him for a while. And I'll say that about the entire team. Watching yesterday, I didn't feel like we quit. I felt like we just consistently shot ourselves in the foot. And look, yesterday, Kyron Jones was what? It's an ugly stat line, 14 of 28, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He rushed for 36 yards, had a long of 14. My biggest problems with Kyron Jones as it pertains to yesterday's performance, and honestly what we've seen for a while, is progressing through reads. When that first read isn't there, kind of trying to figure out where to go next. Also feeling or identifying pressure. There were probably 6 to 8 times yesterday where, number one, it looked like we didn't know where the free hitter was coming from, or this is kind of on the quarterback. You need to know where the free hitter is coming, and then you can't let the free hitter have a full head of steam running to the line of scrimmage when you snap the ball. If your normal routine is ready, set, hut, and when you get to set, the safety or the outside linebacker is sprinting to the line of scrimmage, you should change your cadence so that he has to stop at the line of scrimmage versus, he's just going to run full speed and then lay his face mask into my liver. That is something that you need to do. On the flip side of that, to answer your question, I don't know what practice looks like. I don't know what Pop Watson looks like. I don't know what Rangel looks like. And I do think that this offensive line, man, it is really, I don't want to say they're bad. I just don't think there's a lot of depth. And there are things that I can point to in Kyron's game where I'm like, man, that's a severe limitation, or that's something that you can control and you can do better in. But when I'm reading all of the commentary surrounding this game and I'm saying, okay, why did we lose? I don't think that it's as simple and turnkey as well, obviously we need to just get a new quarterback. I think this team has a ton of problems. And if you really look at it and you take and you digest like Kyron's performance yesterday, and if we truly want him to be a game manager, like that is what you think that he can be. And that's where I think that he lives, especially when you have the running attack, like a
That was last week.
Yeah, like a Marcellus Hawkins and a Terrian Stewart. Yes, he had that mistake. There were a couple of runs that he popped that got called back, but to me, if you don't have half of those game-changing penalties, Virginia Tech wins the football game. Like they do. And that's kind of where I stand on it. I am kind of surprised that we're now here at 2-4 and we haven't seen anybody else take any snaps. I'll say that, especially at, we did towards like garbage time against Old Dominion. I believe that we also had a backup in when I was like walking out of the stadium for the Vanderbilt game. So it's tough. And to make it even tougher too, you have talented guys like Benji Gosnell. Aiden Green makes an insane catch that comes down out of bounds. It seems like every single week. Like Aiden Green can probably play at 80 or 90% of the teams across the country and be an impact player. And that's what's most frustrating to me. But ultimately, I don't think that Kyron Jones is the type of quarterback that you can ask and it's like, it's on your shoulders, go win the game. But he also needs to be the guy that doesn't make the mistakes. And yeah, that's a long-winded answer of basically saying, I think our problems go so much deeper than just like, oh, if we just plug a different player in a quarterback, it's probably it's a different product.
It's hard because I think the reality is this is the best we're going to get at the quarterback position this year, which sucks because I know Kyron Jones isn't playing for free this year. And it's a shame that our level of roster management and NIL payroll management, climbed the ladder to make sure that we could equip Kyron Jones with the money that he's getting, knowing that there's probably some other guys out there making a hell of an impact, like this guy at UVA, for example, Chandler Morris. I'm sure Chandler Morris, they didn't roll out the red carpet for him to play at Virginia coming from North Texas.
They certainly did, though. I will tell you on good authority, he's getting compensated well. But on the flip side too, like we can say, why didn't we go out and get a quarterback? If you're a quarterback and you've seen how many problems Virginia Tech has had at the quarterback position, and where the coach is in his tenure, and you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and you're bringing in like 3 or 4 new offensive linemen, and the offensive line was a huge problem last year. Like, this is why I'm so excited about next year, because I think we've reached a point where it's like, it needs to be all new. Like basically trying to sell what we have had to offer to an assistant coach, to a game-changing player, or anybody else. It's just not as attractive as a product, and hitting the reset button from a coaching perspective, a schematical perspective, I think will net better results.
I would say it's hard to make an apples to apples comparison with Virginia. I would say Virginia Tech probably had a lot more to offer than Virginia did Chandler Morris. I don't know. I mean, you think Tony Elliott and the UVA?
From what I understand, UVA's donors stepped up at an unbelievable level to go out and get Chandler Morris. And also,
you think Chandler Morris is getting more than Kyron Jones?
I bet it's comparable. I would bet that it's absolutely comparable. If I had to guess,
I'm just saying that's money that could have been spent elsewhere in the market. Is
100%. And my next point would be Virginia Tech made the decision that this is the direction that they're going in.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And I think that's
exactly.
And that's
that cannot be changed week over week. We have our guy. This is what we have, and this is unfortunately what.
Which is why Virginia Tech cannot. You said roster management. Virginia Tech cannot afford to lose an offensive lineman, cannot afford to lose Terrion Stewart, cannot afford to lose Aiden Green. Like, you just look across the roster and you're like, I mean, if this guy goes down, that unit's going to be not that good. Right. So, again, that's why I kind of reset my expectations to say, look, like, for the rest of this year, I was saving this to the end, but for the rest of this year, here are my expectations. I want to see the guys go out and compete, play hard, which I think they did on Saturday. They just shot themselves in the foot over and over and over and over again. And I want to play spoiler. Like we look at this November, right? Or you look at the rest of this month, you can say, we're not going to win one of these games. Like I was basically saying when we moved on from Pride, hey man, like we're going to steal a couple. And we just so happened to steal the next one, right? And then we all got a little crazy. And I said, hey guys, like it's funny. We were in multiple group chats this week where people are like, man, do we want Coach Montgomery to lose some games so we don't hire him? Or like, how many does he need to win for us to hire him? How about we just watch the games as they occur? I think that you will. I think as a viewer, you will enjoy the season much more if you go in with that expectation, knowing because this is the first time that we're knowing that it's going to be different next year with somebody else, right? So, newsflash: we're not going to run the table, but go into it with the expectation of like, hey, every single week we can be that mistake, like super bad, like we can do that. So just go into it with that mindset.
Great pull. The offensive line struggling in pass protection actually opened up the run game pretty early in the game. We ran for 152 yards on 35 attempts for 4.3 yards per rush. Terrion Stewart, before he got hurt in the late first half, 9 carries, 62 yards, including a 42-yard run that set up a touchdown. Marcellus Hawkins, 11 carries, 48 yards, had a nice few first down runs as well. Terrion Lannister Stewart getting hurt late in the first quarter kind of stymied our run game plan in a big way. I really like that 1-2 punch with Hawkins and Stewart. Stewart's a dude, and I think he could do a lot more. I think he really opens up the offense. I don't know why we didn't run drones more as well with Stewart going out. As far as the second half, just the inability to score touchdowns in the red zone. You get 4 drives inside the Wake 25. You come away with 3 out of 4 field goals, no touchdowns, just a really, really tough. And especially John Love misses that late field goal. It wouldn't have mattered. Maybe it would have from a momentum standpoint. Who knows? You can't rewrite that. But the offense really couldn't get anything done in the second half of the football game and was pretty uninspiring.
One thing that confuses me a little bit is I don't know if there's a lack of trust with PJ Prelu or Jeremiah Coney, but I think Marcellus Hawkins is good enough to be dangerous to where you don't have to move away from the running game completely. I would like to see Virginia Tech continue to run the game. Virginia Tech's not going to beat teams throwing the ball. They're just not this year. And we just talked about that for 10 minutes. But if Terrion Stewart goes down and I'm looking at what we do, I say, all right, Marcellus Hawkins is taking Terrion Stewart's spot, and then PJ Prelu or Jeremiah Coney need to step up and take it, or Kyron Drones needs to run the ball a little bit more, right? So that's certainly frustrating. We talked about, do you want to talk a little bit about our inability to score in the second half?
Yeah, I already did that.
Oh, sorry. We had 1st and goal on the Wake 4-yard line. We talked about this. Hawkins for a game of 3, tush push stuffed, and it's like the nightmares come out again. We line up in the shotgun on 3rd and goal, and it's a moot point because we got the personal foul call. But
point.
Just tough. And we both said this, dude. Like, I would love to get Benji Gosnell involved. I think he had one ball that was like thrown way behind him. Like I feel for Benji Gosnell and I feel for Aiden Green because they're both really talented and they're going out there and they're lacing up every week and playing. I don't really have anything other to say than it just bums me out because I think they both are really impactful players and we just can't get the ball in their hands. That's pretty much it. Can either of you play running back? Can either of you? I mean,
flipping it over.
Yeah.
The defense didn't play that bad in this football game.
They did not.
The defense did enough for us to not lose, maybe, other than that second quarter and those critical mistakes. Like, if you, on paper, if you told me that Wake would run for less than 100 yards, I'd probably tell you we probably won the football game.
That's like my favorite "we lost" segment. If you told me this, I thought we won. Yeah, I think they definitely played well enough. Like, look, the second quarter was a disaster, but newsflash, Sam Cephas did not rough the passer. Sam Cephas did not push the quarterback out of bounds. There were multiple
But I
times.
hope Sam Seifkes yelled
Yeah,
a lot in that locker room.
I hope he yelled, but like here's Wake Forest's second half drive chart. 3 and out, field goal, interception, punt, field goal, end of game. Like I'll tell you one thing that really bummed me out was I was watching our defense after we missed the field goal, and Kelvin Gilliam, it's third down, and this is right before they forced him to kick the field goal. They're like active, like their offense has been booty cheeks the whole game, and they're like still going out there, still trying their hardest to get this done, and again playing well enough to get it done. So I did see some people like pissed at Sam Cephas yesterday. Of all the things to be mad about, I'm certainly not mad about our defense. You tell me that we're going to give up 3 points a quarter in the third and fourth quarter. You're going to tell me that, there were some serious like offensive like letdown spots, or like, oh, you're going to let go of the rope here after you miss that field goal, or after you get the bad call and the missed field goal, and then they get to line up and retry. Like they didn't quit. They played hard. So we also had an interception by a defensive back, which I didn't think was possible. So that was awesome, but I'm not incredibly angry at the defense at all.
We roughed up Ashford all day, only sacked him one time, only had 2 tackles for loss on the entire day. Honestly, got really lucky that Damon Claiborne wasn't available in that second half. Could have been a different game.
Yeah.
And they were pretty bend don't break.
Yeah.
Throughout that second half. Wake was 6 of 17 on third down. It was really just those critical mistakes. I do want to point this out. I was reading the ESPN article recap of this football game. So robotic. Says nothing about the 2 personal fouls that handed Wake Forest 14 points.
Yeah.
Just bonehead plays of the week. Let's see. And you know what was really tough? Right after the Tomas Rimac holding call on a big run that we had, we punt, give them the ball back right before halftime, and they just run it down. Eli Falai, who we talked about on the preview pod, 11-yard touchdown pass right before the whistle. Going into the halftime, having a 10-point deficit, it was just a momentum game at that point too. Like, hey, Cephas got the guys right in the second half. They did what we needed to do to win the second half, and we only scored 9 points in the whole half. So that was it.
Yeah. Oh God, this really just sucked. Special teams, the rare John Love miss. The punting was kind of a problem, except for the bounces. Like the bounces were very fortuitous, but it was a rough game. Let me say one more thing that stood out to me. Kyron Drones not only is running for his life and has his limitations, but also the entire third and fourth quarter, the snap was low. Like you're asking Kyron Drones to try to read a defense, but you're asking him to spend the first like second and a half pre-snap and half second post-snap on trying to like locate the ball. That's not necessarily a good recipe for trying to figure that out. So you can add that to the laundry list of issues that we had. Look, you know me, I know you. We're always fired up, and fired up's the wrong word, but we're always in a position where we're like, hey man, Stu Holt, like your unit, man, it's just not cutting it. The illegal formation was just a total miss on the officiating. I don't know how you make that mistake. So, it was tough. It was really tough.
How was Monty in the presser? I didn't watch it.
Fine. The only things I'll point out are, one, he said that the team played hard. He's proud of how the team played, and I do agree with him. And I'm not going to be as pissed about that because given the situation with an interim coach and everything else. So I actually do admire that answer. You're asking the kids to do a lot in this situation, right? The one thing I didn't agree with was he was asked about the third down penalties, and he said, I don't think the third down penalties were a lack of discipline. It was guys flying around. I'm gonna have to
maybe if they're 18 years old.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
these
disagree.
guys are tenured.
I'm gonna have to disagree. If it was guys flying around, then we need to take away Ben Bell's pilot license because that was tough. So yeah, look, in all, add it to the list of difficult losses post-COVID. It's wild how many teams have walked into Lean Stadium and walked out with a win. And also, I got to tip my cap to Jake Dickert. He's 1.5 wins away from hitting his over in his first year, and it's October 5th. So well done by him. I did bet the over on Wake Forest, so I will be rooting for them to win 1.5 more games. But well done. Again, first time since 1983 they've strolled in and strolled out with the W. So, yeah.
A lot of sad pups in Blacksburg yesterday. Thankfully, there was some relief that was brought in by way of Coach Robby and the wrestling staff. And we got a text late in the game, early after the game, from Dave Phillips, our guy, your trusted real estate advisor in Blacksburg and Southwest Virginia. The segment is called Where Do We Go From Here? Go to Blacksburg, get your keys. Dave will set you up whether you are buying or selling in the New River Valley area. You know who's going to need some keys? Bo Bassett and Melvin Miller are 2 new recruits in the classes of 26 and 27. Hit up our guy, Dave Phillips. He is a friend of the program, big time. And that's not just Sons of Saturday. That's also Virginia Tech Wrestling, the SERTC. That guy is always seeing what's going on the mat in Castle Coliseum or on the road. This is a big day. Dave's a friend of the program. Hit up Phillips Real Estate. Check out the logo right there for your real estate needs. This was big. Excited about this. Where do we go from here, Billy Ray? Well, men's basketball, women's basketball, wrestling, right around the corner. Got to be excited for that. But the number 1 and number 2 recruits in 26 and 27. Bo Bassett was committed to Iowa and decommitted earlier this year. Both of them are coming out of Bishop McCourt High School in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Bassett is the number 2 overall recruit this class, and Miller is the number 1 guy in 2027. Now, I saw this tweet from Earl Smith, and I actually did not know this. He said, if you don't know, Virginia Tech Wrestling was on the verge of getting dropped in 2006. There were press releases that were written. It was happening, and almost 20 years later, it's remarkable how far Virginia Tech Wrestling has come. Super exciting day. Massive hats off. Tip of the cap. Coach Tony Robby, Jared Fryer, Ethan Aguigui, Sam Latona, new wrestling staffer on the recruiting trail. Everyone over there in the wrestling department, super happy for you guys. You guys work your asses off.
Yep.
And this program has really become fun to watch. And just as fun as the results are the guys in that facility. Like, you will not meet a pound for pound staff like that wrestling staff. So really happy for them. I mean, like Coach Robby, remember he donated a kidney to Sam Latona's dad. You want to talk about a guy who will stand by his wrestlers, stand by those families. So really excited for the wrestling program, and had to drop that in. A little bit of a positive turn in the pod here. Acknowledge.
Well, what's also crazy is you just mentioned that Bo Bassett, he was committed to Iowa, correct? Bo Bassett? Yeah. Bo Bassett was committed to Iowa's wrestling coach, who was actually the same coach that left Virginia Tech in 2006. His name is Tom Brands. Tom Brands left Virginia Tech to take that Iowa job. So it's kind of funny how that all was tied together.
Bo Bassett said, hey, listen, Iowa already has their superstar and Caitlin Clark. I'm going to go to Virginia Tech and be a superstar
my own
there. Bo Bassett has like 200,000 followers on Instagram. Got to get him on the pod.
Do have to get him on the pod. I'll also say basketball starts in 4 weeks and 1 day. So, and again, I'm not trying to move off of football. I'm just like, you guys we got to recalibrate the expectations. We are playing spoiler for the rest of the year. If you want to print a shirt, print this shirt. We can be that mistake. Virginia Tech. That is who we are the rest of the year. And I'll root for it. I'll watch every week and that's it. But that's that. Letters from the lunch pail. Or real quick, next week we have Georgia Tech. It's on the road and it's in Atlanta. Again, perfect opportunity to play spoiler. Georgia Tech should have, would have, could have lost to this Wake Forest team. They were on a bye last week, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Go make a memory.
From the lunch pail.
Sergio Render.
Sergio.
Why are we only taking maybe 2 deep shots a game? Why are we throwing short passes? Why are we not running a running back screen, etc., here and there to keep the defense honest? Why are we not running the ball more when both backs are averaging 4+ a carry? I'm done. Your last sentence, I'm done, I think is fair for a lot of people. I don't know. I don't think we're very good at very much, and I think that's the problem. I don't think that we're very good at throwing the ball down the field. I don't know. I don't really know what our strategy is on offense. Not to take a priism here, but our offense is the definition of we got to play complimentary ball. And if we don't play complimentary ball, we're going to be in a bad spot. So when a Hawkins goes down or a Stewart goes down, you're just going to be in a bad spot. I think again, like, this isn't, to me, on offense or defense or special teams or the team in general. It's like, oh, if we did this one thing different schematically, we'd be better. This past week, though, if we just didn't commit penalties against ourselves, we probably would have won the game. So,
Tough.
Do love you, Sergio, though, man. I've been missing the hunting picks. I don't think we've gotten one in a while. Should we talk about the rest of the field real quick before we pack it in? What a fun day of college football around the country. Let me get the schedule up, dude. What did you watch? What did you like? What did you see?
My coworker came over. We watched the 3:30 witching hour, if you will, and had the quad box rolling. I'm usually not a big quad box guy, just a little bit of sensory overload.
It's a lot.
I kind of like a 1-to-1. You know, I like my audio being focused on the game that's just on.
Mm-hmm.
But this was appointment television. We were flipping and flipping and flipping. I was like, all right, got to set up the quad box. It was Penn State UCLA on one. Ryan was my coworker was a Maryland alum, so we had Maryland, Washington. Tough choke from Loxley.
Yeah,
they are 0-10 coming off a bye. That is crazy. I had the Bama Vandy game, and then the Florida Texas game, and then once the Vanda Bama game seemed to be over, we flipped it over to UVA Louisville, which was a good one. Didn't even consider Notre Dame Boise. That was a blowout. But I mean, UVA's got a nice team. James Franklin, like, wow. Watching Nico, he was really fun to watch yesterday. They have this guy, Jerry Neuheisel, Rick Neuheisel's kid, calling plays at UCLA now. He looks like Sunshine mixed with Avicii. He's got like this Avicii look, and they're carrying him out on the field. I'm like, oh my God, Avicii is back. He is alive. And that was a great football game. I'm sorry to Casey. Casey kept doubling down on his Penn State bets. That had to be really tough. Nico looked really, really good yesterday. And I was very surprised because I thought they were just going to go winless this year. They're 0-4, and then they just come in, beat the heck out of Penn State. No one was there. No one was there to see it, unfortunately.
I think it's the first time in 40 years that an 0-4 team or worse beat a top 10 team. It's what makes college football awesome. I'll tell you what, I knew this was going to be the case. Clemson -14 was the freest money in the history of humanity. That game was over immediately.
Did Luda stay?
Luda did. He performed in the morning. Ludacris did perform. Clemson scored on their first play from scrimmage on offense. They did a reverse pass touchdown for 80 yards. Extremely embarrassing. Again, we said it could be worse. We could be Texas or Florida. You could also be a North Carolina booster. Like, this is tremendously bad. And I don't know. I don't know what you do the rest of the year here. They lost 38-10 at home. They were down 28-3 at the end of the first quarter. So
I took a screen grab from a sports writer who wrote up about Belichick and kind of just the whole situation at Carolina. Says, why can Fran Brown, a first-time head coach with no experience as a coordinator, keep the top talent from a 6-win team at Syracuse, add a few pieces and a quarterback from the portal, and turn it into 10 wins in year one, but the greatest coach in the history of the sport, Belichick, I disagree, Nick Saban, needs time to establish this program? How can Kurt Cignetti take over a 3-win team, import dozens of transfers from a Sun Belt champion, and carry the Big Ten doormat Indiana into the college football playoff in year one? But Belichick's team can't stay within 3 touchdowns of a fellow first-year coach, Scott Frost, who's been out of college football since 2022 and took over a 4-win team at UCF. How and why and what the heck? I completely agree. It is mind-boggling to see this happen to this guy. This will not last very long here in Chapel Hill.
It's bad. It's really bad. And I don't know how it gets better. Pittsburgh made a change at quarterback. They went to a freshman over Eli Holstein, and they beat Boston College 48-7, which is pretty surprising. Some other results across the ACC that were exciting. I mean, I'm just telling you guys, and again, we're being consistent. At no point did we say UVA is not good. They're actually quite good. And I'll go as far now as to say, I think it's time that everybody needs to start mentally preparing themselves for UVA and Miami in the ACC championship.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Because a bit is nothing without the commitment to it. That would be the lowest attended football championship game ever in Charlotte.
Yes. This past weekend, though, was a spot where I'm like, okay, like, you won this game against Florida State. You're having to go on the road against a good Louisville team. And they found a way to get it done, man. And I am uber impressed by the University of Virginia to handle business.
Did you see the hit that Chandler Morris took?
Oh, yeah.
On the play
And then your backup comes in, wins the game on the next play. I mean,
he might be dead. He just got completely sandwiched. And then they win on the subsequent play. He's a gamer. That team is fun to watch.
Look at what they had to do to win, though. Like, if you looked at these stats, Chandler Morris was 19 of 31 for 149 yards and 1 touchdown. They only rushed for 88 yards. Like, and they won. Like,
they had 2 defensive touchdowns. It kept them in the game. Like, we had 2 defensive penalties that lost us the game. They had 2 defensive touchdowns that won them the game. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes your football program is just better, and they have a better football program right now.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching Penn State lose to UCLA. I thoroughly enjoyed and predicted Florida to beat Texas. I want to leave. This is the last thing I'll say. I'm seeing a lot of James Franklin to Virginia Tech. I am. And I think it came from one person, but Casey's also pushing it. I think I'm the wrong person to ask because generally James Franklin and Frank Beamer are kind of unbelievably similar. James Franklin took over Penn State when Penn State was in the middle of massive sanctions. Now, yes, Penn State had a much more storied history than Virginia Tech did when Frank Beamer took over the job. Now, what Frank Beamer and James Franklin both did was they won a ton of football games. You can take it to the bank just about every single year that Penn State's going to win 10 or 11 games. And then the only real difference between the two is Frank Beamer competed for a title and James Franklin did not. And Frank Beamer won ACC and Big East championships, and James Franklin is not winning Big Ten championships. So I am just so personally anti-Penn State and generally and probably unfairly anti-James Franklin that I'm like, no. But if I'm directly addressing that as a possibility, number one, I don't think Penn State moves off of James Franklin. He has like a $50 million buyout. And number two, I don't know if that's a direction we would go. But if you told me, would you take James Franklin? If I'm being honest with myself, my first gut reaction is, of course not. But I think that's kind of a silly stance to just be like, I won't take James Franklin. It's tough to say that on this Sunday after this result. But pre that, he never lost games like this, ever.
I don't disagree with anything that you just said. It would be like a hold your nose as you swallow it type thing. And then you're like, all right, I guess this is our guy, but this probably will be a better situation than we've had the last decade. So let's go.
Yeah.
We would have to learn how to like him. It's like, would you rather take James Franklin or Pat Narduzzi? Who would you
I would say
take?
I would say it's more like, would you take James Franklin or Jimbo Fisher? And I can say, like, with zero hesitation, I would take James Franklin over Jimbo Fisher. That's a podcast.
Speaking of Florida, Florida State, Miami. There was some trickeration in our game. That was actually one of the best plays and one of the more pivotal plays in yesterday's game that we haven't talked about. It seemed like 6 guys touched the ball before it was thrown down the field. Have you ever seen a better executed flea flicker than Carson Beck last night?
I don't believe that I have, and I've seen some good ones. And I also want to say too, like, a lot of people don't like the guy, and he does have a pretty sockable face. Is there a better story than Carson Beck in college football right now? Like, exiled from Georgia, car stolen, like, everybody, hey man, everybody literally hates you. And he's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman at Miami, and Miami is a bona fide national champion contender and number 1 in the country. I said this before the season. I said, guys, I think we're all acting like Carson Beck sucks. I promise he doesn't suck. And he has not sucked.
I placed my Miami future to win the Natty last night during the second quarter of the football game. And that would be something. I have not seen Miami look this good in a really long time. And this was a test away from home. I say that. I don't think they leave the state of Florida until November 1st. Is that right?
I can look it up.
But they are the real deal. They are fun. They are flashy. And they are playing good football. Appointment television, I fear that we might be in some trouble on November 22nd. But good opportunity to play spoiler.
I believe, they do not leave the state of Florida until they play at SMU. And that game is on November 1st. Their schedule worked out to where they had Notre Dame at home, Bethune Cookman at home, USF at home, Florida at home. Are they playing any of these games away? At Florida State, Louisville at home, Stanford at home, and then at SMU. This makes me mad. Anyway, we will talk to you guys early next week for Georgia Tech. Basketball's around the corner.
If you're going to Georgia Tech, stay at the Spring Hill Suites in Buckhead. My guy Chris will hook you up.
Spring Hill Suites, Buckhead. Be wary of the traffic. It's probably going to be bad. That's it. That was tough. That was a tough loss. We'll be back. We'll be back better than ever.
This was not as fun as last Sunday, but
it's not.
If you've made it this long, 2 calls to action. 1, we've given away some Roback. We gave away 2 more $50 Roback gift cards over the weekend to some of our Section 5 club members. If you guys love Sons of Saturday, if you love the efforts that we put on for the community or just love the content, for just as much as a cup of coffee, $5 a month, join the Section 5 club, get exclusive newsletter that I hand type once a month, but also a ton of Roback gift cards, exclusive events, trying to do something for either UVA or one of the home basketball games
Mm-hmm.
over this fall to winter crossover cycle. Just a lot of fun. Be part of the community within the community of Sons of Saturday. That's call to action number 1. Check it out on our website. It's the Patreon. Number 2, comment below.
I got it. I got the emoji. Do a brain, because this team has to play like they have a brain to win some games. Comment the brain emoji.
Damn. Right to the jugular on that one.
That's a podcast. If you like the sweatshirt, it is Roback. Use code Saturday for 20% off. That is an OG that Pat's wearing, the OG Sons of Saturday. Like, subscribe, appreciate it. Numbers have been great. We put out some information. This was our best month ever, was September. That's what happens when you lose to Old Dominion by 1,000 points at home. And you play a game against a couple SEC opponents. People get fired up. But stick with us. We're excited about it. Brighter days are ahead. And looking forward to the mat and the hardwood.
See you guys.
Everybody.